Hello Year 10. I want to continue our lesson on portioning the chicken and what we're going to do with it. In your next practical you're going to make two things. The first is escalopes of chicken. So an escalope of chicken is a chicken breast that has been battered out. And so we're going to use our two chicken breasts that we took off the bone in our last lesson. So you need a chopping board, red board if you've got one, and a sharp knife. Okay, so I'm using a cook's knife rather. So first thing you're going to do, and this is really easy, you're going to remove the skin and it literally just pulls off. Okay, so next thing you've got is your chicken. Now if you open it up, you can see that there's actually this little fillet here. So what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to cut through my chicken and I'm going to try and produce two pieces of chicken like I've already done one. So that was the first breast that I took off that wasn't actually brilliant, but you can sort it out like I've done. So the first thing you're going to do, you're going to slice through your chicken, okay, from the bottom to the top, and you're going to end up, but don't go down where, so slice from the top and then go round. And what you're going to do is you're going to remove, so you've got two pieces. So that's the piece with the fillet and that's the piece that was left. Okay, so you've now got four fillets. So you're going to then what we call pané, which is to cover with breadcrumbs. So first thing you need to do is you need to wash your hands. So I'll be back in a tick. Okay, so just going to make some space. So what you need for this is a piece of greaseproof paper or a piece of parchment paper, doesn't matter which, and you're going to put two pieces of chicken on the parchment paper, right, like that. Spread it out a bit and you're going to fold it over. Right, and then either with one of these, which is a meat hammer, and you'd use the flat side, or a rolling pin, doesn't have to be posh, you're going to batter out the chicken. Now, what you don't want to do is go absolutely mad and make it too thin. So you just need to keep bashing it evenly, because what you want is the chicken to be roughly the same thickness all the way through. Okay, so if I just do one, because it is a bit noisy, I'll just show you. Right, so this is the reason why I use parchment paper, so it's batting out, you see. Now they probably won't be the same size, so don't worry about that. And what you can do, if you don't want to use that little fillet, you can take that off and just do that separately and do like a chicken goujon with that. Okay, so hopefully that's about right. Yeah, so there's my two, I don't know if you can see them, but there's my two chicken fillets that I've battened out. Okay, I'm just going to put those to one side and show you what you need next. So the next thing you need, move that out of the way. You need three things. You need flour, about 50 grams, and you either put it onto a plate or into a bowl. So flour, two eggs for four fillets, right? And what you're going to do is white eggs. You never get white eggs in this country, but because of the shortage, people doing all the baking at home, white eggs. Okay, so 2 eggs. Put those into a bowl and give them a whisk, and you just need to make sure that the yolk and the white of the egg is really mixed together. Okay, so there you go, that's mixed together. And then you need breadcrumbs. Now don't worry if you haven't got any breadcrumbs in, because you can make your own. Okay, so you need a grater. I've already done a little bit of this already. You need a grater and you need bread. Now, frozen bread. If you can do this in a food processor and just whiz it, but one, you've got to clean it after, and two, you might not have one. So if you have a grater, which most of us do, and you get a frozen bread roll, you'll need 2 bread rolls for this probably. If you grate the frozen bread roll, it becomes really good breadcrumbs. If you try it with a fresh one, you get all lumps that stick together. So there you go. How easy is that? So going to just move that out the way because I don't want to waste time doing that. And then the other thing you can add to this is some Parmesan. So Parmesan is a hard cheese. You don't need to use a lot of it. 25 grams is probably the most you'll need, and it will go a long way. And what you do is you just grate it into there. So this is a little cheese grater, which is brilliant. I use this to do garlic as well. And just grate your Parmesan in. You can weigh it before if you want, but I've already put some in, so I'm just showing you really how to top it up. And then just give that a good mix around. So you've now got your 3 elements to breadcrumb. You need a clean plate as well to put your finished product on. So I'll just move my clean plate there. So you take your first fillet, okay, and if you just put it into your flour. Now you can season your flour, that means put salt and pepper on it, or you can season your breadcrumbs. So what I did was I seasoned my breadcrumbs, but haven't put very much salt in because I'm using Parmesan, which is quite salty. Okay, I don't want to make it too salty. So there's the fillet, nicely coated with flour. I've shook off the excess, and then I'm going to put this into the egg. Now the reason you put flour in first is the egg will stick to the flour. If you just stick the chicken straight into the egg, it will just slide off. Only use one hand if you can with this, and it just makes it easier. And then what you're going to do is you're literally going to coat the chicken with the breadcrumbs. Okay, so there's my chicken. And if you want, you can do a double coat. So basically, you ignore, if you want to double it, so you ignore the flour this time, put it into the egg. This is what they do in places like Kentucky Fried Chicken and that. And again, just cover it with your breadcrumbs, okay, and make sure that all of the chicken is covered, right? And that's important for when you come to fry your chicken, because if it's not covered in breadcrumbs, it can get the fat can leak into your chicken and make it quite greasy. Okay, right, so I'll just show you that again very, very quickly. So, flour, shake it all off, egg, cover it completely with the egg. Now this piece is where the fillet is, so I probably need to use 2 hands. And then when you've done that, it goes into the breadcrumbs and coat it with the breadcrumbs. Okay, now next thing we're going to do is we're going to fry this very, very, very quickly, just for a couple of minutes, and then in a pan with some oil, just to seal it and just to slightly brown the breadcrumbs. And then when you've done that, you're going to pop it into the oven for about 10 minutes. About gas mark 5, 180 degrees, and just finish off the cooking of the chicken so that it's not raw in the middle. Okay, I won't be a sec.